for those people who live on Unionville Road, this place had issues there. The Methodist Church men are going to be doing a mobile registration going along that road, meeting with the people, and going over their needs with them and being able to register them for that. So that's going to be taken care of on a mobile registration. So people need to be aware. They may see some people out there coming up to them and asking them if they have needs or any type of message that they need to take care of. And again, the purpose of that is also going to be coordinating our volunteers. We do expect tomorrow to make an announcement regarding registering volunteers Wednesday. Right now I don't have the definite, and we'll be doing that tomorrow as far as that goes. And the purpose of that is also to see where the people that are affected need assistance, and that's where we'll work the volunteers in for that. The other thing is, if you can't get to either on Unionville Road, you can call the Metropolis City Hall at 564-2351. Again, that's 564-2351. And register over the phone. They'll be asking you questions about what you need, and we'll go from there. As I announced at the 10:30 press conference, and one thing we're also dealing with is asking for donated goods and cleaning supplies. That can be taken to the First Baptist Church in Metropolis. They're accepting those for 4 days. Also, monetary donations can be made to Banterra Bank in Metropolis. They should be made payable to Shawnee Development Council, which is helping coordinate that. There should be a note stating tornado on those checks or donations. Again, that's the Banterra Bank in Metropolis if you want to make a monetary donation. Additionally, some people ask questions about donating tent supplies. There's 2 locations that people can drop off for those. Project Hope out of Metropolis, and then the landing strip, which is there going into Brookport. And also, if you want to check with them before, people should call the landing strip 618-638-6697 to check on what type of supplies and food is needed, so it's not overwhelming them with stuff that they don't need. Again, those are the basic things as far as that goes, as far as the updates. Our EMAC team is deployed in and around the area. They're currently doing the assessments, the damage assessments we need. We anticipate getting that finalized tomorrow. Again, we're getting in there and seeing a lot of severe damage. And I think a lot of you were out there in the field today to see what kind of damage they're actually seeing. So it's going to be a very long and drawn-out issue to make sure that all issues are addressed and we get everything properly documented. And we'll have more updates on that. Procedurally for tomorrow, we're going to do a press conference tomorrow at 10:30. That's going to be done at the library in Brookport, right on the main drag. I think a lot of you guys have been staging there. We're going to move it in there because I think we're going to have smaller numbers in the next few days. So we'll go ahead and do that at 10:30. We do not anticipate an afternoon press conference tomorrow, but if we do, we'll let you guys know. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Trooper Usher to go over some points by the state police.
Trooper Michael Usher, the Illinois State Police. I just want to go over a few things that Trooper Watson will cover in the press conference. Residents in the area need to be aware of their surroundings. There's a lot of limbs still in the roadway. There's a lot of debris up in the trees that's falling. Be aware of what's above them. There's still some power lines down. As I drove through the damaged areas this morning, most of us saw some nails. A lot of nails still in the road. We have heavy equipment still in the area. The US 45 Brookport Bridge will remain closed until given clearance by the Kentucky Department of Transportation Cabinet. It's still unknown when the bridge will be reopened. There's still a curfew. The curfew is from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. State police will continue to maintain checkpoints and control the village of Brookport. And last, if you don't have business in Brookport, do not come to Brookport. You'll have your problems perhaps. And please no sightseeing. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask Tina Hale with Ameren to come up and she can give you guys an update on where Ameren stands with all of their
equipment and that kind of thing, so it's kind of slowed up our restoration there. But besides that, the rest of Brookport has been restored, and if there are still customers without power, that would be due to So we should be complete, I hope, within the next hour today. Half of the crews that we did send in, we are sending on north to assist in other areas of the state where we still have outages. But then half of the crews will remain here in Brookport to be able to respond to service requests and reconnects as they get called in.
Just one update on the Gibson. Just had updated here real quick. Regarding volunteer registration, Wednesday at 8:30 at Unity School. Anyone that is interested in volunteering, we have confirmed and running Wednesday at the school. If you are interested, you'll need to come in, register. They'll obviously have jobs and tasks ready to go for you. They'll coordinate that on the time frame. Also take care of the security issues we need to work out on that. So if you are interested and you can volunteer, if you want to help, that is going to be available at Unity School Wednesday morning at 8:30 until 4 o'clock. So that's the update on that. Real quick.
Concerning that question, people did sign up today. If they get there at 8:30, they'll be ready to go. Because I had somebody that was going to take off work, so we're kind of trying to make sure we use our time like that.
On that, I can't say with the registration we did this morning. They would need to follow up and double check on registration for you guys. The task depending on what they're going to focus on. So maybe we need this number of people, something like that. So when they get there, they can still need to double check.
Someone should not take off work until they know their schedule.
Correct. So they know that there's a task set up and they would be able to do that. Absolutely. Following up on our press conference, National Weather Service is here. They did complete their survey, and I have Rick Shanklin with National Weather Service to talk about what their survey shows.
Hey, thank you, David. Good afternoon. As he said, we did complete our survey within the last hour from river to river, from west of Brookport all the way to Ohio River, southwest of Mifflin. What we found, update from earlier, the peak intensity still EF3. We're bumping the winds up slightly to 145 miles an hour based on a couple areas of damage that we've seen in Brookport, also along Unionville Road. That entire track is 11.5 miles, but I stress that is just the track segment in Illinois. Since it goes river to river, it's very likely that it continues on at least one, if not both sides of the river into Kentucky. So we will not know the entire track length and the official rating of it until we complete the track, and we'll pick up with that tomorrow in Livingston County. Again, peak winds 145 miles an hour. The width is averaging about 225 yards on this tornado. We did, however, find one area of damage along Picatola Road where we found it to be much wider, a third of a mile wide at least, of damage there. And what we think happened is where the storm was doing some reorganization, we actually had another tornado develop immediately to the south of the previous tornado. Technically, the way we document things, it'll still be considered one tornado, but it's interesting to see how we had that transition as Brazil went through that redevelopment process in that area. Also, I'd like to mention that the response we found was good. We did talk to several residents in the area and heard of some good responding, and family members contacting other family members, having them take shelter. We were very pleased to hear that. We did hear, although in some cases where they would wait, they would not take action when they got the warning. They waited until they started getting damage reports. Of course, somebody mentioned, damage in Brookport before they took action along Unionville Road. So we want to really stress the importance, of taking action when the warning is issued versus waiting until you get damage reports. Speaking of the warning, it was issued for this storm at 1:52 p.m. The tornado hit the Brookport area around 2:20 p.m. We did get a report just across the river on North 8th Street or to the west of there, Paducah, a spotter immediately prior to it hitting the Brookport. And that is, lastly, the fatalities were really, there could have been many more fatalities than there were, given the damage that we saw and all the stories. There were a lot of people that were in mobile homes that were blown. Some distance with the debris in the mobile homes that survived the tornado. But again, a lot of the response overall was very good. We saw a lot of people take good action. Any questions?
Quick question. You said regarding the mobile homes that we typically know these structures can be very dangerous for people to be into. A miracle that they survived in a mobile home. I mean, you say they were thrown several feet.
Yeah. There were some of the folks that we talked to that were thrown. I'm going to say at least 50 to 100 feet in the debris, maybe even up to 100, 200 yards in a case or two. Just the way they landed, and we weren't impaled by debris in particular. Whether they were injured, most were injured, some hospitalized. It's pretty really miraculous that some survived, given how they were picked up and carried by the tornado with the debris in their mobile home.
You mentioned injuries, sir. Any idea what the number is on the injuries at this point?
No, I don't.
The worst damage that you saw was that in this area along the Unionville Road area?
Unionville Road area, and also in the western part of Brookport. There were numerous mobile homes there that were completely separated from the foundation and from the undercarriage, the metal underframing, and carried some distance. That's where the injuries occurred. Also, along with that, there were several vehicles that were tossed around. At least 3 vehicles there were tossed around, one upside down. There was also one on Unionville Road that was tossed upside down. A school bus that was also blown over at one of the locations where there's some injury. The car tossing, mobile home damage, and damage to some of the homes as well. That's really what pushed us up into the F3 range.
Can we say how much time elapsed between the tornado entering Brookport and the entry? How much time was on that?
Probably about probably about 7 or 8 minutes. We'll have to double check that. Brookport to Unionville. Time was to
The miles per hour traffic.
I think we were carrying about 60 miles an hour. Maybe a bit less than that. So very fast. If people waited until they saw it coming, that's probably where some of the cases occurred that people didn't take action. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Quick question, Mr. Regarding schools here in Massachusetts County, sir, are they going to be open tomorrow or remain closed tomorrow?
That information I do not have. I can find that out or we'll call the school. At this time, I'm going to ask Dion Scott with Liberty Utilities to talk about what their status is as far as that side of the
Liberty Utilities, as of 1:30 today, we have 100% leak survey of the damaged area and the directly outlying area. We have 26 services on. 18 of those will be retired at the main due to severe devastation of the property. We have 10 of those at this current time abandoned. We expect to be done by tomorrow, I'd say, with all the operation. And the only caution we would have would be in cleanup, and people in the outlying areas of the damage would be careful and be caution around the gas line. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And now I'm going to have Sandy Webster from the American Red Cross come to talk about the mass care operations that are ongoing with the Red Cross.
Last night at our shelter, we just had 2 families, and I just had a report that 2 more families came in this afternoon. So the shelter is still there for anyone that needs a place to stay. It is still at the First Baptist Church in Metropolis, and so is the 6 feeding sites for all residents of Brookport. We've been doing mobile feeding to the responders and incident commands. continued that. We did get word this afternoon that Red Cross can now go in and do our damage assessment tomorrow morning. So we will start that. Once the damage assessment is done tomorrow, then we can start looking at casework and start meeting with the families and see what their needs are. So that's where we are right now. Our Red Cross crisis counselors were at the shelter all day today, and then as the caseworkers go out or meet with the families, then they will go along with the casework. And that's our update.
So last night you had the 2 families, but have any other victims come forward for food or assistance in any other ways?
Yes, they have been eating there. There was quite a few there last night when I first came for dinner. I did not get a report. I came straight here, so I don't know when they had at lunch, other than what we delivered in the emergency response vehicle.
Just one more time, can you attest to the fact of how well they've organized these efforts over at First Baptist and all the supplies that they do have?
First Baptist has been a long-time partner with Red Cross for over 25 years, and they are incredible over there. Their people are just amazing. They have done a wonderful job before we even opened the shelter in getting blankets and pillows and everything in. And their cooks, they cook for us a lot, so we got the same cook, so we know that all the food for everybody is going to be wonderful. So they are amazing, and we have several of our shelter sites that are that way, but this is kind of special, unfortunately, because we've had a lot, a couple of tornadoes and a flood here, so we have gotten to work together, so they are.
What should volunteers start preparing themselves for as we start getting organized in that part of the effort?
Just making sure when they check in with the volunteer part that they were talking about earlier, that they are getting whatever hazards or whatever areas they're not supposed to go into, that they dress appropriately, and because you're not going to be any help to the clients if they're not taking care of themselves and making sure they're in this area. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy. And as Sandy concludes her comments, I just want to take this time to thank the Red Cross and the Salvation Army. They've been here since 0 hour, providing assistance not only to the victims but also to all of us in the first responder community, because if we can't get something to drink or get something to eat or even have just some respite care that they help provide us, it makes a big difference. So I do want to extend thanks to that, and I also want to take this opportunity to just point out that the citizens of Brookport and Massac County should be really proud to know of the job and the efforts that their public safety personnel have been doing. Also go out and say that you're seeing public safety that's best with the cooperation between state, local authorities, municipal authorities, mutual aid partners. I come down from Perry County. We have other people from Franklin, Williamson, other coming down here to work together to basically help get this resolved and taken care of. So everyone's really been doing a great job working together, continuing to do that. With that comment made, I'll open up if there's any other questions I can answer, or if not, just a reminder tomorrow, 10:30 at the library in Brookport.
Dave, we had a report that a 4th person had died. Is there any word on that?
Joey Alphonse.
I managed to get a hold of the coroner, and he said we cannot confirm that at this time.
Okay.
So what has happened is there have been people taken to numerous different areas and area hospitals, and as far as our coroner here in McCracken County, as far as McCracken County side and our coroner here in Massac County, neither one of those can confirm that at this time.
What about number of injuries? Do we know that at this point?
I don't have that number.
Even a ballpark?
That was something we were still dealing with from this morning, because there was a 13 number that we had that the hospital had preliminarily, but as far as getting the fixed number, we don't have that yet. I think there's still some of that treatment that isn't a final number. It's one of those things, once we can get it, we'll get it out there as a fact.
Any other questions?
The fatalities that we do know of at this point, the 3, were they all in the park off of Unionville? No, were they spread out?
2, the only thing I know of information I've got is 2 were on Unionville Road, so out in the county. 1 was in actually the city limits of Brookport, and that's all that I've got specifically. That would be a question for the coroner directly that we could maybe follow up on if you're wanting that information. Again, I don't know how much that he's got right now, but we can definitely follow up on anything.
I have one quick question for you, if you don't mind stepping up
Yep.
to the microphone. Quick question, sir. Any idea, this is
approximately how many structures are actually damaged? A preliminary idea of how many structures?
Right now, when you look at damage assessment, when we look at it in emergency management, we're looking at anything from a very minor amount of damage all the way to destroyed. And the teams are out there right now working, and they're going to be out there late and all the way through tomorrow as well. So it's hard to give any type of estimate. I've seen, like you guys have seen, there's one house that had one window broke out. There's a house where there's absolutely nothing. So to get a fixed number until the guys get the damage assessment done, it'd be really premature to even try giving any type of an estimate.
As opposed to the utilities for Ameren, I think, and Liberty, are those right now both on a house-to-house basis? It sounded like.
As far as with Ameren, we still have that one line that I referenced that serves the Lockton Dam. That has a small area of customers there, but after that, it would be single services after that.
And I'm sorry I didn't hear your question.
Is it still on a house-to-house basis right now for utilities?
The gas was actually never disrupted, with the exception of the houses that were destroyed and the houses that had damage. And it is a house-to-house. No, it's not a house-to-house basis. It's just the damaged area is. We're abandoning those lines. The gas was on and all the others. The reason that it seemed like the gas wasn't on is because there was no electricity. Therefore, your furnace, you would have hot water, but you wouldn't be able to operate your furnace because of the electricity. But the gas was not disrupted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and conclude the press conference. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to call, check with us, we're closing out, and we'll plan on seeing you guys tomorrow at 10:30. Thank you.